Good afternoon and welcome to the Lunchtime Learning webcast of the Instructional Materials Coordinators Association of Texas, IMCAT. I'm Tony Black and I'm with White House Independent School District and I'm the chair of IMCAT's Media and Technology Committee, and it's a pleasure to be with you today. Today we'll be talking with representatives from the Texas Education Agency's Instructional Materials and Educational Technology Division. Before we get started, just a couple of things to get outlined for you. I want to tell you that our information today is so up to date that we have changed the presentation and the handouts this morning. And so if you downloaded the PDF file of the presentation prior to this morning, make sure that you have the version with today's date. That's October 20th, 10/2016, on the upper right corner of the page. If not, there's a link below your screen today where you're viewing the webcast. If you're in full screen mode, you may need to back out of that and see the link at the bottom so that you can download that information and have the most up-to-date and current version of the PDF as we begin. First, this afternoon, we want to thank our sponsor, Follett, for supporting our webcast and making it possible to offer this webcast today for free.
IMCAT, you're doing big things in Texas, and Pilot is prepared with solutions for all of your district's needs. With one of the industry's largest inventories of Texas-specific new and certified pre-owned textbooks and consumables, Pilot is your one-stop shop for all of your classroom instructional materials. Pilot is proud to partner with IMCAT. Together, we're getting the right materials into the hands of Texas students.
You may have a lot of questions about instructional materials, and hopefully that's the reason that you've joined us today. Today's webcast is going to give you plenty of opportunities to ask those questions. There's a couple of ways, or several ways actually, that you can do that. You can call in today. You can fax in. Fax? Yes, fax. So if you still have an operational fax machine, you can fax your question in. You can text or email in your questions at any time during today's broadcast. Here's how. You should see that on the screen right now. You can text at 512-567-0857. You can email to textbook@texas.net. You can phone us at 512-251-8101. And then you can fax, fire those things up, 512-251-8152. Normal text messaging rates may apply if you're using text messaging. We encourage you to go ahead and get those questions in. If you have some burning questions that you've been waiting to ask folks from TEA, then go ahead and start sending those in. But as we go through the presentation today, more questions may come up, and we encourage you to send those to us. Today, we'd like to welcome Janet Warren and Debbie Gonzales of TEA. Janet is Distribution Coordinator in the division, and Debbie is Accessible Instructional Materials Coordinator. Ladies, welcome this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. I know that was a crazy drive in from Austin, long way.
It wasn't too bad.
All right, we're so glad that you're here, and we appreciate you taking the time to spend with us this morning and talk about instructional materials and the questions that people may have on their mind. You're probably hearing from many instructional materials coordinators right now, I'm sure. What would you say is the most common question or the most common questions that you're hearing? Janet?
We are hearing about with different disbursements are allowable and different ways that the districts can spend their funds.
Okay, do you have any specific examples or that come to mind that are the most often requested?
Most of the time it's regular instructional materials that they're wanting to know if it's state adopted or non-state adopted. We do have questions about if the IMCAT conference is allowable, and it is. You can put it in a technology services disbursement with contracted services, professional development as the category.
Great. So a shameless plug for IMCAT. Get those disbursements filled out so that you can attend the IMCAT conference. And we'll talk more about that as we go through the morning. Debbie, is there anything from your world, from the accessible material world, that you're getting as far as a repeated or regular question that you might be getting?
Just how we get questions on how they can update their enrollment, and I think we've made the process a little bit more, it's a little easier than it used to be, so,
Great.
and we'll talk about that.
All right, great. Well, these ladies have some prepared information that they're going to share with us, and so we appreciate them being here and taking the time to put this together. So at this point in time, I'm going to turn it over to Janet and allow her to take the presentation from here. Remember to call in 512-251-8101, text in 512-567-0857, email textbook@texas.net, or fax 512-251-8152 if you have questions during the presentation. Janet, over to you. You bet.
So all the information we're going to share today is based on the current understanding that we have and is subject to change, especially this being a legislative year. So we're going to start talking about EMAT access because you have to have a TEAS account before you can request EMAT access. You'll want to click the TEA Secure Applications link or information. And once you click that, you're going to scroll down and find the EMAT application, or you can click on the little E at the top where it has the alphabet links, and click on the Request Access Online. Once you have clicked there, you're going to request a new account. And there you're going to choose the EMAT EVI Order Materials application from the drop-down menu. You will have to provide required information such as your organization number. And there are two roles you can choose from, the EMAT EVI Ordering Access or District Staff View Only Access. Each district may have up to 2 people with ordering access and up to 2 people with view only access. And once you have submitted the request, it will go to your superintendent, who will receive a notice to approve it. Once they've approved it, it will come to TEA for approval. Once we have that information, then we will send you an email about the training that is now required for anyone that is with the ordering access. The training is available on the TEA website, and we've worked very hard on this to have these trainings available for you, and I think it has a lot of valuable information, especially for new textbook coordinators, but it's also valuable information for experienced textbook coordinators that you may want to go back and see the information later. So we're going to talk about instructional materials allotment. Ordering for the 17-18 school year will begin when EMAT reopens in the spring. This will be similar to the process that we had at the beginning of the current biennium. When it reopens, you'll be able to spend any of your prior year balance. Your new funds will not show up right away because we won't know what those will look like yet. This is a legislative year, so the actual IMA amounts for the 2018-2019 biennium will be announced shortly after the conclusion of the 2017 legislative session. And once those are entered into EMAT, you'll be able to spend up to 80% of the new IMA prior to September 1. And the actual funds will be available after September 1 when revenue becomes available. The delayed payment option will be available unless changes are made during the legislative session. You may requisition and receive state-adopted instructional materials prior to the start of the new fiscal year. The delayed payment option is an agreement between TEA and the publisher, and it is only available for orders through the requisition process. Payments to the publishers for the delayed payment orders will be made prior to TEA approving disbursements. The requisition process, requisitioning disbursement or requesting disbursements will begin when EMAT opens for the 16-17 school year, and you'll be able to use your prior year carryover funds, and those disbursements will be approved and will pay out 7 to 10 business days later. If you're going to be using your new biennium funding, those disbursements will be pre-approved and will not be paid until after September 1, after the delayed payment invoices are paid. So the pre-approved disbursements, districts can make, districts and charters can use local funds to pay for instructional materials and get reimbursed when funds become available. We do discourage districts and charters from using local funds with the expectation of the reimbursement unless a corresponding disbursement has been pre-approved. And the instructional materials staff will review the disbursement requests and pre-approve them in the order in which they were received. So some districts and charters may make an agreement with the publishers to make payments after the pre-approved disbursements are paid. And these are agreements between the local education agency and the publisher. TEA does not regulate these agreements. So new materials for the 17-18 school year. Proclamation 2017 will include languages other than English, career and technical education, special topics in social studies, algebraic reasoning, and statistics. There were 1,208 statements of intent to bid submitted for Proclamation 2017. That means the publishers had to submit a statement of intent to bid if they were interested in participating in the review and adoption process, and they submit one for every course or subject area and grade level that they intend to submit materials for. 558 products were reviewed by the state review panel, and then those materials are eligible for adoption if they meet 50%, at least 50% of the TEKS and 100% of the ELPS if applicable, which is the English Language Proficiency Standards. Of those 500 products that are eligible, they're taken to the state board to be either adopted or rejected using the commissioner's recommendations. And then there are 4,615 product bids that have been entered so far into EMAT for those 500 eligible products. There is additional information on Proclamation 2017 on the TEA website that will give you a list of those materials that are eligible for adoption and samples for those materials as well. Some important dates to remember is that on November the 16th through the 20th, the State Board of Education will be meeting, and during that meeting they're going to have a public hearing for Proclamation 2017. They'll also have the adoption of materials for Proclamation 2017, and then there'll be action on Proclamation 2018, which I'll discuss a little bit more in a minute. December 1st is the application deadline for the high enrollment growth application. In the February-March timeframe, the IMA and TEK certification form will become available. And then we have set the dates for EMAT to close and reopen. April 3rd is the intended EMAT close date for us to get products ready for the 16-17 school year. And then on May the 1st, we intend to reopen EMAT for you to begin ordering. In the June or July timeframe is when we'll announce the IMA amounts after they've been calculated after the legislative session, and then September 1st, 2017 is when those funds actually become available. So we've had a lot of questions about future proclamations. Proclamation 2018 may be issued in November at the November board meeting, and it would include special topics in social studies. So you'll want to watch the board meeting to see if that gets called for, or if they choose not to have Proclamation 2018. Proclamation 2019 will include grades K through 8, English and Spanish language arts and reading, and personal and financial literacy, and that it may be issued in the spring of 2017. And then Proclamation 2020 will be high school English and language arts and reading, and then pre-K systems, and that may be issued in the spring of 2018. So those are two very large proclamations that you'll want to be aware of. The current adoption cycle is on the TEA website at the web address listed, and anytime it is updated, it will get put in that same location. So ordering instructional materials. There are two different ways to order materials in EMAT. The requisition is for state-adopted materials only. A LEA submits a requisition for products or packages on the list of state-adopted materials. TEA reviews the request, and if approved, then we'll send the order to the publisher. The publisher will fulfill the order, and TEA will pay the publisher. The other opportunity to use EMAT to order is doing a disbursement. And disbursement requests can be made in 4 categories: instructional materials not available in EMAT, bundles or packages that are not available in EMAT, technology equipment, and technology services. So a district or charter will submit a disbursement request, and it will be reviewed by TEA and will request additional information if needed. If it's approved, then TEA will send the funds to the district or charter, and then the district or charter will order directly from the vendor or publisher and pay them directly as well. So the high enrollment growth application, if a district or charter believes that they meet the eligibility or the criteria for an application or for the adjustment for the IMA, then they may submit an application. It can only be submitted once per school year, and it is contingent upon the commissioner's approval and available funding. So to be eligible for an adjustment to your IMA, you must meet one of the following criteria: a minimum enrollment of 10% over the previous 5-year period, an increase of 3,500 students over the previous 5-year period, uninspected enrollment growth due to unforeseen circumstances, or a recent approval of a charter school expansion amendment by the commissioner. The applications are due by December 1st at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Applicants that qualify will be placed on a waiting list, and then after we've received all the applications and have determined the exact amount that would be needed, then adjustments will be made to the extent that funding allows. There is a letter to the administrator address that recently came out, and a link is at that web address below, which also has the application on it. And now we're going to talk about accessible instructional materials, and I'm going to hand it over to Debbie.
Thank you. Okay, if you are kind of a seasoned instructional materials coordinator, you'll know that after we opened EMAT in the spring, there was a new acronym. So the meaning remains the same. We used to be EVI, which stood for Educational Materials for the Visually Impaired, and we have kind of come into the 21st century. So now we are AEM, Accessible Educational Materials. And some places they also talk about AIM, Accessible Instructional Materials. It all means the same thing. We are trying to update EMAT, and it takes a little while to get EVI out and AEM in on some things. So you'll notice sometimes you'll see EVI, but it's the same thing as AEM. Annual enrollment. We work with the Texas School for the Blind and Visually Impaired. They do an update of students that need accessible instructional materials or educational materials. And so they will request from superintendents how many visually impaired students they have in their district. They upload it into a file, they send us the file, and we put it into EMAT, and EMAT will automatically adjust, like we usually get it in February or March, and so when the new year comes in, it will automatically roll those students over, or it should. Sometimes you'll get new students in your district that are not, say you have a child that's blind in 3rd grade and you'd never had that, then you can actually update your enrollment by clicking on the AEM enrollment link in EMAT on your district start page. Then what happens is we have tried to simplify this whole process. We used to ask for the student's name, the visual impairment, when the date of the last ARD meeting was, and we don't want any of that information anymore. If we need it, we can get it either from our state and federal program director for visually impaired in IDEA division, or we can get it from Texas School for the Blind or Visually Impaired, or we can get it from the district. So now all we're asking for is the grade level of the student. So if you have a third grader move in, they need Braille or large print. If you will send us an email, you can call us as well, but I like to have kind of a tracking on that. And then we will adjust your enrollment, and you should be able to then order the materials your student needs. We need the grade level for the student for K through 8, but then we need the applicable courses in 9 through 12 if they're taking high school courses. And they could be an 8th grader that needs an Algebra 1 course or something like that, so you can tell us that. But otherwise, we'd have to give you access to every high school course, and you really don't want to mess with that, I don't think. We update the enrollment, and then you can order grade-specific materials for students in K through 8. So if I put in one student for 5th grade, large print, you'll have access to order all of the materials in all of the subject areas. And then you can order course-specific materials for those high school students. Like if they're taking Spanish 1, biology, English 2, just let us know what those courses are, either by the name of the course or the MLC, and we'll get it in there and you can order those materials. Surplus materials, that's always interesting because a lot of these materials take up a lot of space in the warehouse, so you want to get rid of them. These are actually owned by the state, and that's why they're provided free to eligible students. And when you no longer need them, we ask that you return them to the Special Textbook Redistribution Center, the STRC. Now, if you have a student that's in 3rd grade, uses the materials, and you know you're going to have either a 1st or 2nd grade student that might need those materials in the next couple years, you don't need to return them. You can keep them. It's just that when you know you're no longer going to need them, if you'll return them to the STRC. They will accept materials November 1st of this year, 2016, through March 31st of 2017. And let me say, one reason we need those is once in a while, this is an example, once in a while, say we need, somebody needs a Spanish textbook that's no longer in adoption, we can check with the STRC and they can usually ship it out if they have it in their inventory right away. So we go to the STRC a lot first before we go to the vendors that actually make the materials. So when you want to return materials, you're going to click on Ship to STRC in your EMAT on your district start page. Select the materials you're shipping, and EMAT generates a packing list. And that shipment should only include what is on that packing list. And I'm going to say that's for in-adoption materials. And then if you have surplus adopted materials that are not listed when you click on that Ship to STRC, see if they're in your inventory, which means you need to look at the link at the bottom, kind of towards the bottom of that box, and you want to either click on Ship to or receive the STRC shipment or receive the AEM vendor shipment, and they may be in there, and all you have to do is click Receive. That puts it into your inventory, and then you can return it. Please return only complete sets of those instructional materials, educational materials, to the STRC. If they're state-owned and they're lost or damaged, you need to contact us at TEA, and then we have to replace them. so that you can return them, and that would be at the local district expense. Returning large print materials, don't return used consumable materials. We don't need those. Do return anything that's unused and consumables. And you can contact Leanne Lee for assistance in returning those unused consumable materials. And packages that consist of only consumables are going to be removed from your inventory each year. Out of adoption, Braille and large print materials are returned when they're no longer in use. They're packaged separately from in-adoption materials, so you need to label the boxes out of adoption. And again, Leanne Lee will send you either a bill of lading or a mailing label so that you can return those materials. These are the important dates for us. November 1st, the STRC opens. March 31st, it closes. April 3rd, EMAT will close. And May 1st, EMAT will open for the 17-18 school year. We ask that if you can, order your Braille materials by that date to ensure delivery by the first day of school. That would be good. And then July 31st, order your large print and audio materials so to ensure delivery by the first day of school. And if you have any questions, please contact us. We answer lots of questions and we like to talk on the phone. So.
All right, thank you very much, Debbie and Janet. We appreciate that presentation very much. Gives us lots of important information to think on and discuss. We have several questions that have come in, and so we're going to get to those here in just one moment. I want to maybe revisit a couple things just as reminders that you talked about during the presentation that I think are important things to remember. First thing, once again, shameless plug for IMCAT. You can use IMA funds that is allowable for registering for the IMCAT conference, correct?
Yes, you can use IMA funds for the conference registration, but not for any travel expenses.
Right, and you do that by going in as a disbursement?
Yes, and it would be a technology services disbursement with professional development as the category.
All right, great. So get those registrations filled out and sent in. We want to see you in Galveston in December. Proclamation 2018. That was a little bit of a surprise today because some of us had heard that Proclamation 2018 had kind of gone away and was pushed back, and so now we're looking at a possible, once again, legislative year. And so anything is subject to change. So 2018, kind of reiterate what that potentially could be, Proclamation 2018.
So Proclamation 2018, if it is called for, will be for special topics in social studies. That was part of Proclamation 2017 as well. We did not have a lot of submissions for special topics in social studies, and it has been a hot topic issue. So there is a chance that it will be called again for an opportunity for more materials to be reviewed.
And one of the questions that we received in reference to that is there an example that you have of what a special topics in social studies would be? I'm going to put you on the spot there.
Debbie, do you know that?
Special topics is a very generic course almost, so you could do a lot of things under special topics. I think the state board is trying to give people the opportunity to do ethnic studies, but let me give you an example. I used to work in curriculum. I had a student that was in a private school in Georgia coming back to Texas. He had taken a military history course that they wanted to give him credit for, but Texas obviously does not have military history in our texts or our TEKS. And so what we did was we said, look at the TEKS for special topics and see if that kind of goes along with it and where he could get credit for his military history course, and they gave it to him. So
hopefully that answers the question as far as what could be a potential answer for or an option example of a special topics in social studies. Back to proclamations again. Proclamation 2019, and and Proclamation 2020 now, which was originally 2018. It's getting pushed, right? And so 2019 potentially is going to be
English and Spanish language arts and reading for K-8.
K-8. Okay.
And personal and financial literacy.
Okay. And then 2020.
And 2020 would be the high school English language arts and reading,
Right.
and the
Pre-K system.
pre-K systems.
Pre-K
yes.
system. All right, great. So that helps just reiterate that particular item there. One question that came to me while we were going through the process, in the requisition side, okay, if I'm requisitioning a textbook, and is it still my responsibility to understand the ratios that the publishers are using for awarding a free teacher edition with that, when I put that into the requisition side? For example, if it's 25 to 1, or if it's 30 to 1, or whatever their ratio is, it's me as the coordinator, I need to know what that ratio is with my publisher, because it is possible if I put in, let's say I only order 40 books, and I ask for 2 teacher's editions in EMAT, I'm not going to get 2 teacher's editions.
Yeah, it would be the publisher's discretion on what is sent based on what the ratio is. We do try to include those ratios, especially on the Proclamation 2017 products. We're going to try to get those on the item details. So once you click on an item in the requisition, next to the magnifying glass that you clicked on to select the item, there'll be a little box that looks like a piece of paper with an arrow on it. You can click that to get the details of the item, and in a comment section is where it is currently housed. I'm not sure if it will look a little different once the new materials are put in, but that's where we try to put that ratio in there for you to have that information.
Great. So that's very important, because I don't think that the publishers then were going to come back and indicate to you, hey, we're not going to send you a second. You know, if you get that ratio fouled up, you're just not going to see that teacher's edition. So you want to make sure, I think, that you are diligent in checking that out and making sure.
And there is one other thing, that a change this year that we're intending to make, and we have discussed it previously, but it should be available for Proclamation 2017, would be a component requisition, where the materials for Proclamation 2017, each item should be able to be purchased separately as only a component. So if you don't qualify for that teacher's edition, you should be able to purchase one through that component requisition.
And all the angels sang. That's, I think everyone will be excited about that opportunity. I think your instructional materials coordinators will love that option. That's
And
good.
that is going to be from Proclamation 2017 going forward. At this point, we don't have plans to go backwards
Right.
for previous proclamations.
Right. Okay, great. Thank you for that piece of information. That's great. Here's a question that came in. Can a district only apply for the high growth once in the biennium, or is it year to year?
It's once per school year.
Okay.
So that application is available now, and they can apply between now and December 1st. And then once it becomes available next school year, they'd be able to apply again.
Okay, so once a school year. Okay, great. I think you answered a question that I actually asked you off the air before we started about out of adoption Braille materials, Debbie, that if you do have those materials that maybe you have kept for some reason for a period of time, and then they're out of adoption, it's not appropriate like it might be for those materials that we have now, where TEA has given us the ability, since we own those materials, just a standard textbook, to be able to donate that, recycle it, whatever, as long as we notify the state. But we cannot do that with those.
Yeah, with the Braille and the
AEM.
large print, they actually belong to the state, and so we need them back. And
Great. And I think you gave a good example there. There are people that still continue
Yeah.
to use those out of adoption books for their kiddos. Great. Another question that's come in, this one, what about, this question comes in, I think I know the answer, but I want to go ahead and throw it out. What about returning regular surplus materials? There's no
There's no longer a process for returning surplus materials because they now belong to the district or charter. So it's the district or charter's responsibility to have a policy in place on what to do with those materials.
Okay, great. And here's a question. I haven't had a great deal of time to go over it, so apologize. I'm just going to read it to you, and we'll see if we can go through this together. Because this individual says, I do not have a central warehouse, so I have to ship books to each individual campus. All right. Because of this, it can be difficult, confusing to order using the requisition system. In the past, I have had books delivered to the wrong campus even though I indicated the correct address on the requisition. Question. I see the disbursement categories changed to specifically state items bundles not available in EMAT. Can a local education agency no longer submit a disbursement request for items that are in EMAT? Is it required to requisition now? Okay, see if you can wade through that question.
So the in the requisition process, there is only one available shipping address. So those will need to be shipped to a central location. And the items for a disbursement, you are able to ask for a disbursement for materials that are not available in EMAT or that are available in EMAT in a different configuration. So it may be the same package, but you may be offered a discount on it. So then you can still do a disbursement for that material.
All right. Another one, this one's for you, I think, Debbie. Can you change the delivery point address for the AEM products in EMAT?
Yes. Where you go to, you're in the, on your district start page, confirm addresses, and you can put it in there. And actually, some people have started to put, excuse me, on that second line, address line 2, they've started to put someone's name so that it actually goes to a person. And we're hoping that that will prevent some things from not being delivered to the right place.
Okay, great. Another one that's just come in. Can we use the textbook fund, IMA, to pay for printer paper to print district-developed TEKS books and materials for the classroom?
Unfortunately, you cannot use paper or request for paper because that is considered an office supply, and that is listed as one of the things that's not allowable. And you can see those in the Chapter 66 on what's allowable and what's not allowable.
Excellent. Great answer. One other question that came up, this was really kind of a comment. The PDF handout doesn't match. If you came in a little bit late on the broadcast today, the PDF did change this morning concerning the presentation that TEA has presented with us this morning, and so the newest updated version of that is available there as a link underneath the feed that you're watching from today. So if you're in the full screen mode, you might want to shrink that back, and then you should see a link there below your screen to be able to download today's presentation. It should say today's date, October the 20th, in the upper right hand corner to let you know that that's the most current version. Okay? Great answers to questions. Another one came right in. I thought y'all were off the hook, but we got another one last minute. What happens if our district applied for funds for a certain textbook and received a disbursement, but ended up not needing or not ordering that specific title or that specific book? Good question.
Okay, so if you have those funds still at your 410 account, that is considered an overage, and you will keep the the funds in the 410 account until the next time that you need to do the a disbursement. If the amount of funding you have is more than you need for your new disbursement, then you'll send me an email or the instructional materials mailbox an email letting us know what it is you want to purchase, and then we can approve it through email instead of through EMAT. But if you're needing additional funds, including what you already have, then you will put in a disbursement just for the amount you're still needing. And it would be a good idea to go ahead and send us an email to the instructional materials mailbox, or you can email it to me directly, letting us know why you have that overage, just so we can keep it for our records.
Great. All right, and I may have missed, I was reading during part of that, so I may have missed. I think too, maybe Kelly has said this in a presentation that I've watched, where if you have an overage, you guys will also, it's okay if maybe you put some information in the description field there.
Yes.
when you're ordering something as a disbursement, that you put that in the description field. Hey, we're using this much. Here's the total amount, and we're using an overage of this amount, and then that's why they can see a difference in what you're requesting and what you're.
Yes, you'll want to use that description field to tell us. You can just put the word overage, the transaction ID that it came from, the amount of overage you have, and then since it's an overage, you probably are using a quantity of 1 and a unit price of what you're still needing. So you can put the quantity and unit price of what you're actually getting in the description field as well, so that you have that information for your records and we also have that information.
Great. All right, what process is used to get a disbursement pre-approved?
It's the exact same process. You will submit once the new funding is showing in EMAT. If you have prior year carryover, then we'll go ahead and approve that disbursement request. But if you do not have any prior year carryover and you're using new funds, then we'll look at the disbursement request just like we normally do, and instead of clicking approve, we'll select pre-approve, and you'll see that status change on in EMAT when you go back and check on it. And then once we have that available funding after September 1 and after the delayed payment publishers have been made, then we'll start changing those from pre-approved to approved. And then once they've been changed, they'll pay out 7 to 10 days after approval.
Okay, great answer. Wow. Okay, here's one. Says, thanks for all the help, ladies. So wave, pat on the back right there. Appreciate that information that came in. I am not only coordinator of instructional materials for my district, but also testing coordinator. Wish the EMAT conference wasn't held during the same time as December. Okay, that was not a question, that was a statement, and we appreciate your statement. We can't answer that other than to say that is historically when it's been. We have heard that before, and we'll continue to monitor that situation, and basically the testing folks need to move their stuff. Because IMCAT's having its conference. They are looking, I do have a message here that tells me that we are looking at alternative dates for possibly 2018, so that, stay tuned, okay? I'm still getting, Cliff, I don't know whoever, I'm still getting a message from someone that says the PDF link is not current, so maybe you have a cached version of that page, and so you're seeing the old one, but the PDF should be updated to today's. So just you might want to refresh, or maybe get out of your browser and come back in. You may just have an old version of the page that's coming up there that's not getting you to the proper PDF. Not sure there. A couple of questions that have just come in. These are email. I thought they might have come off the fax machine. I was really excited. I am new to IMA. I have only used the reimbursement process for textbooks, supplemental materials, and technology. What are the advantages, disadvantages to using this process versus the requisition process?
So the requisition process, we're your go-between between the publisher and yourself. You will just submit the order. And once we approve it, we send the order to the publisher. We pay the publisher, and then the materials are sent to you using your IMA funds. On the disbursement process, though, you're the one that's doing that legwork of working with the publisher, getting that quote, getting that disbursement entered, and then once we send the funds to you, you're ordering directly from the publisher.
And paying them.
Great. Good job.
And paying them directly.
All right. Is the legislature or TEA the one that makes the determination to provide districts with all of their IMA funds the first year, and is there a chance we'll get all of our funding up front again this time around?
It was approved last legislative session, so it is in law, and it should remain the same unless there is a new law that will take its place.
And that never happens. So we'll hope that the thing that you need to know is that IMCAT and our lobbyist that works for us here through IMCAT was very instrumental in getting that legislation passed to get that upfront, that front loading of your of the monies in IMA for you to be able to have all of that accessible to you. And so we encourage you, that's why we encourage you to be a part of IMCAT and what's going on, because that helps us to forward those ideals that mean something to you. And so we would encourage you, if you're not a member of IMCAT, that you get involved, you come to the conference and learn more, and we'll talk more about that here in just one moment. We're asking about a recording of the session, and I'm assuming, Cliff, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, that it will be available right there on the IMCAT.org website, so you can go to the same place, www.imcat.org, following today's presentation, and you'll be able to access a recording of today's program. I want to remind you that IMCAT's annual conference, IM Texas 2016, is going to have these answers kind of redone for you again, so that those of you who maybe need more attention to that and want to have some more answers, we're going to have more opportunity for you to get some of your questions answered at the conference. You have the opportunity to interact face-to-face with the TEA staff, like Janet and Debbie. You don't know that it's going to be Janet and Debbie there. They're waiting to find out who Kelly's going to send, and so they're sitting there waiting. So Kelly, if you heard that, they're waiting. Okay. Make plans to attend the conference December 4th through the 7th at Moody Gardens Hotel and Convention Center in Galveston. It's always a great time there. There's some new wrinkles that are coming to the conference this year that you're going to want to be a part of. We're going to have a bingo night. That's going to happen. And that's coming up like on Sunday night, I believe, happening. And then on Tuesday night, a special opportunity for you to do a cruise on the Colonial, little paddle wheel boat that goes around the bay there near Galveston. That'll be a fun time for our members to be a part of. So once again, if you haven't been a part of IMCAT to this point, you haven't been a part of the conference, take the time, go to www.imcat.org, click on the link there to register, get registered for the conference. That also is going to include your membership for the year, and you're going to have access to lots of great information that is going to help you be a more informed instructional materials coordinator to be able to do your job to the best of your ability. So once again, www.imcat.org. Keep checking the IMCAT newsletters, both print and electronic, and the website for information about future webcasts that we'll be doing and for other training opportunities. I'm going to check one more time to see if there are any current questions. Here's one that I don't know if you can answer or may not. What is the calculation for high growth based for each district? Do y'all have any idea what the formula is or what the calculation is for that?
It's just based on those qualification areas, and I do not know the calculation off the top of my head.
Okay. So that may be something that we can find out and get posted, or we'll see if that's a possibility to get that information added so where you can access that. Sorry, we don't have that exact answer. Many times our small school district does not meet the required numbers for the packages available. As a result, we have to order individual items, and I'm looking, hang on, I can't view this completely. Just one moment, technical difficulty. Okay. As a result, we have to order individual items, and it is always more expensive. Can the publishers offer packages smaller than 75?
It's up to the publisher to offer what they choose to offer. So you may want to talk to the publishers and see if they can take it up their chains to offer packages smaller. But we are going to have the opportunity this year for Proclamation 2017 to do a component requisition where you can order just the components you need from a package, because sometimes there are larger packages offered and you may not need all of those pieces in that package.
Okay, great. Now, I would encourage you, if you're having that issue, talk with your publisher rep there locally, that person that you have maybe a connection with and a relationship with. Talk to them about your circumstance and see if they can't help you in dealing with maybe your small school district issues. I understand that a lot of times the bigger districts may drive some decisions that the publishers make, but they will work with you if you'll talk to them and tell them what's going on there. All right, great. I think that's all the questions we have. We're at 1:20. We're good. So once again, check the website. You can see a recording of today's broadcast. We thank you so much for joining us, those of you that were able to get online and join us today. I thank you so much, Janet, Debbie, for being here and taking the time out of your, I know, busy time to be a part of what's going on and supporting IMCAT in this way and answering questions that are very important to our membership. And any final thoughts or anything?
If you have questions for us, you can call us, or you can send us an email at the instructional materials mailbox, which is instructional.materials@tea.texas.gov.
All right, great. So check our newsletters, check the website, be informed about what's going on with IMCAT. Let us help you in whatever way we can. And we thank you so much for being with us today, and we hope this has been an informative time for you. From the IMCAT headquarters in Pflugerville, I'm Tony Black. Have a great day.